According to Fannie Mae, almost 1 in 4 people believe home prices are going to drop. That's a massive number of people. So the question is, are they right? In this quick video, we'll look at just what specific things cause house prices to drop, and we'll dive deep into those things and see what they're telling us is going to happen in the future on house prices. My name's Dave Rupp, also known as Dr. Hot Rod the Realtor. I'm a Southern California real estate agent at eXp Realty. All my contact information is in the description below. Feel free to reach out to me with any real estate related needs or questions. All right, so to start off with, let's look at where we get our information from. We have options like the television news or social media influencers, or maybe even our friends or coworkers. Okay, so TV news and social media influencers are typically going to be pumping out clickbait type information to get us to watch this stuff and sell advertising. Now, as far as our friends go, I don't know where they're getting their information. They could get it from the TV, they could get it from social media, they could get it from a legit source. We just don't know. So all in all, should we listen to those people, or should we be getting the information direct from the horse's mouth, so to speak, by going straight to reliable, informed sources who are experts in the housing industry or in the real estate industry? I'm going to say the latter. Let's get the expert's opinion. So for this video, I chose to go with information sources Fannie Mae, Mortgage Bankers Association, National Association of Realtors, AEI Housing Center, the Home Price Expectation Survey from Pulsenomics, and last but not least, Zillow. Now I threw Zillow in there because they have a lot of consumer data search information, but they're not non-biased, so I don't usually like to rely on their information. And I personally see a lot of times the numbers that they're throwing out there don't line up with the numbers of other industry professionals. So I usually take the Zillow stuff with a grain of salt. So I have a question for you. What are the things that drive house prices either up or down? Quick answer: supply and demand. Supply is the number of houses for sale. Demand is the number of people trying to buy those houses. It's the relationship of those two things that cause prices to either go up or down. So how do we measure supply and demand, you might ask? We need to break this down. Let's look at supply first. Supply is pretty simple. You have new houses and you have houses that have already been built and lived in. Now both of these segments, whether it's new construction or existing home sales, will both be affected by the consumer's perception of whether it's a good time to buy or not. Let's think about it this way. If most people believed that house prices were going to come down in the next year, do you think that they would want to buy a house? Of course not. They would want to wait till prices stabilize and they felt like they were going up again. They would much rather either rent and wait till prices stabilize, or just stay where they're at if they can. Because nobody wants to buy a house for $300,000 and then in a year it's worth $250,000. So that's a given. So new construction, the same thing happens. The same dynamic is there. You look at a builder and he wants to make money. If he goes out and starts a building project that's going to take him 9 months to complete, he's thinking about in 9 months, if the value of that building has gone down and then nobody wants to buy and he's got a house now that's brand new sitting there, how many months is he going to have to keep it because nobody wants to buy because it's a bad time? Well then, the likelihood of him making money is very low. The likelihood of him losing money is very high. He's not going to want to build a house either. Next, let's look at what the big driver is for demand. The biggest driver in the industry for the demand on real estate is mortgage rates. And when we say mortgage rates, we're talking about a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. How much does it cost? What is that interest rate? Is it 5%? Is it 8%? Now, just 0.75% will actually increase your house payment $200 on just a $400,000 house. And that's a progressive thing. 0.75% will change your payment $50 for every $100,000 of loan amount. And of course, consumer confidence, perception of whether the market's going up or down, whether home prices are going up or down, that perception by general consumers, is going to play a part in the demand as well. So let's look at what drives interest rates themselves. What's making the interest rate go up, or what makes it go down? How can we look at certain things in the economy and know in advance, or have a good idea in advance, whether the rate's going to go up or whether it's going to go down? Being how that's going to affect the demand, being how that's the big driver of whether houses increase in value or decrease. So let's look at those factors. Interest rates are most going to be affected by mortgage-backed securities, 10-year treasury rate, consumer confidence, consumer spending, recession, and inflation. Now, the government is constantly doing a balancing act, if you will, to keep our economy strong and to keep inflation down low. They are doing things, making monetary policies. They're doing things like buying bonds or selling bonds or raising the interest rate or lowering the interest rate to constantly do that balancing act to keep everything working proper. Think about it this way. If everybody is doing really good, the economy's strong, everybody's working, people are making lots of money, we typically spend lots of money. Not many of us just hoard it all and put it all in the bank and just don't want to spend anything. So we go out and we spend it and have some fun. Why work for it if you can't spend it, right? So when we go out and spend like that, then products and services become more in demand. So then the prices on those services go up, or products, and that's what's called inflation. So when inflation starts going up, then the government starts basically forcing us into a recession so that we'll have less money to spend, so we'll quit spending so much, and it gets things back in check. Now, if we watch closely the things that the government's doing to manipulate the economy, whether pushing it down into a recession or whether they're throwing money out there by lowering the interest rate, freeing up money for people to be able to buy more products and services, we'll know which way the housing market is headed because we know which way the interest rates are headed. We just have to combine the supply with the interest rate information to be able to make a decision on where we can expect housing prices to go. So let's look at that next. So where we're at right now is post-COVID economy. Back in 2020, the government was giving out stimulus packages, PPP loans. Free money was flying everywhere. They lowered the interest rate really low so that it was easy to borrow and get basically almost free money with loans. They had loan forgiveness for all kinds of employment and business loans. So bottom line to it, they pumped a ton of money into the economy to keep things moving, to keep things from getting into a really bad recession. And that caused inflation to jump up to like 9% because everybody had all this money to go spend like crazy. And we did. Now they're cutting back. For the last 6-8 months, they've been cutting back on different things to get us to stop spending, to get us to run out of money, to in essence force us into recession. All the data points now we're looking at are showing good numbers for us going into a recession. That's a good thing from the standpoint of the housing market, interest rates, and recovery from this whole free money thing that we had during COVID. So where we're at right now is we're getting data points from jobs reports and different reports that tell us that the economy is starting to go into a recession. Jobs are decreasing, new hires are slowing down, people getting overtime is slowing down, so hours worked is down. We have different data points that show us consumer spending is down. These things are all pointing us to information that says the Fed will now stop raising interest rates because they see that what they've done is working, and then they're going to turn around shortly as this stuff becomes consistent. They want to see these reports consistently over time show the same things. Then they're going to start reducing the interest rate. So we have a heads up knowing that interest rate is going to start dropping. So did we have a real estate crash? We had social media, we had the TV, we had all kinds of people saying, real estate's in the toilet. Get out, run for your life. It's terrible. The sky is falling. It's going to be 2008 all over again. Did we see that? No, we might have seen 2 months of prices dip a little bit, but We have data sources from all kinds of respected data collection agencies stating that by the end of 2023, we're going to see numbers around 6%, 7% increase in the home value for 2023. Furthermore, 2024, we've got the same predictions. Who are these people that are saying this? Well, let me give you some names. Fannie Mae, Mortgage Brokers Association, National Association of Realtors, and Zillow, if you average their projections for 2023's closing out, which we're only a month away from. And of those four, the average projected gain on real estate for 2023 is 3.4%. 3.4% increase overall for the year. So that is not 2008, that is not the sky falling, that is not a crash. That is still gain on the value of your home. If that's not compelling enough, how about the Home Price Expectations Survey from Pulsenomics? That's a survey of over 100 companies. Some housing market analysts, some economists, some investment strategists. All these companies were surveyed. Of those 100 plus companies, the average expectation of 2023's real estate property value gains is 3.3%. If that's not enough, how about the AEI Housing Center recently had an article published in Fortune magazine stating they revised their 2023 and 2024 house price increase expectation. They revised their 2023 number to 6% and their 2024 number to 7% increase in house prices. One other thing worth noting is the difference between the 10-year Treasury bond and the difference between the mortgage rates are typically about 1% or 1.5%. Right now we're running about 3%. That 3% is fear-based. It's because there's been an expectation that the Fed is going to continue to raise interest rates, and investors don't want to buy a bond and then have the Fed raise interest rates, and then that devalues the bond and they lose money on the bond. So they're hedging their bets with the interest rates. As soon as the Fed starts acknowledging that they may be cutting rates, acknowledging that they are believers in the numbers going down, that they believe that the measures that have already been taken are in effect working, and they stop talking about potentially raising the rates more, then you're going to see that 1 or 1.5% come back out. So the Fed doesn't even have to lower rates, and just by saying that they're not going to raise them anymore and that fear goes away, then those rates will get back to the 1 and 1.5% normal difference between 10-year Treasury and interest rates. So to pull it all together, if you're expecting housing prices to go down in either 2023 or in 2024, you're going to be massively disappointed unless something major changes what's going on right now. Because all the signs are pointing to prices going up 5% at least, if not 10%. Think about it. You've got a lot of people who are on the fence about selling a house, so they're just kind of waiting. A lot of people, we started off this by saying 25%, still to this day, believe prices are going to go down. When those people start seeing things change, they start seeing the interest rate going down, they start seeing everybody jumping back out there buying, they're going to feel like, hey, I can't wait, I don't want to get left out. You're going to have a flood of people going in, assuming rates go down good enough. You'll have a flood of people going in back into buying, and we don't have any inventory. We have very little houses available for sale. Some markets that I'm serving in right now, our average days that it takes to sell a house is like 13 because we don't have that much and we have people still looking. So it's still a seller's market. And if all of a sudden you got a flood of people coming in, that's going to get a lot worse. That's going to cause prices to go up fast, and inventory is going to be zero. There's going to be multiple offers. It's just going to be crazy times. Probably very similar to what it was in maybe June or July or so of 2020. Most all of the heavy hitters in the real estate industry, whether that be the Mortgage Bankers Association, Fannie Mae, National Association of Realtors, Zillow, Most of the people that are in the know, that are heavy into real estate, the economists that work for them, are predicting interest rates in the second quarter of 2024, which we're only talking 6-7 months away, are expected to be around 6 or 6.5%. Watch and see what happens. It's gonna be a show. Again, my name is Dave Rupp, Dr. Hot Rod the Realtor. Feel free to reach out with any real estate related questions.